If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today's August 4th, 2020. And today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the NASDAQ sitting once again on its highs. And the question is, will it break higher? And we're going to take a look at that in just a second. But first, let's look at the economic events of the day. So looking at the economic events of the day, earlier this morning out of Australia, we had a Royal Bank of Australia rate statement coming out. No big surprises there as the interest rate stayed steady. Now looking at the currencies, we're watching the South African rand continue to weaken. And we mentioned this earlier in the week, while the euro, the Aussie dollar, and the GBP all trading together versus the USD. So I like that. We're going to take a look at a couple opportunities there as well. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones bounces after selling off last week, and the NASDAQ challenging that upper limit as we mentioned earlier. And looking at the commodities, gold steady on the upper range, while oil pretty much unchanged. And lastly, looking at the stocks, of course, it's the tech stocks that are still very strong and they're carrying us higher, Microsoft included. And looking at Alcoa, which is a Dow Jones stock, it's actually looking to break out. We're going to take a look at that as well. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're looking here at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart. You can see we capitulated towards the end of last week, early this week, and then we sold off. And I did mention this, okay? I was expecting a 50% sell-off somewhere in the 115.80-ish level around right here, but we're still shy of that, over 100 pips. Okay, now we did bounce, okay, yesterday after we sold off down to this 117-ish level, and we're trading right now on 117.62. Now this is the point. Okay, we had the sell-off, we had the bounce. Will this develop into a head and shoulder? This would be the head, and this would be one shoulder, and this would be the subsequent second shoulder. Okay, take a look at it. Possibly it could be that formation that is still setting up, but that still has to display itself before it does. And if it does give you a head and shoulders, then that's a bearish move, and we could see ourselves back in this 116, 150, 115.80-ish level. Now what's nice about this is that the GBP also did the same thing, retracing but not breaking this trend line. Okay, so relatively the GBP is still relatively strong. Now looking at the Aussie dollar, we did get that sell-off and then this bounce, but again, not as formidable as the Euro USD. What I do want to jump into is the USD ZAR on a daily chart. Let's take a look at that. And that plowed through the 1712-ish resistance edge level, and we're above it. So this could possibly take us to the 1750-ish level. Okay, that's really my next spot to do that in terms of our resistance. Now in terms of our support, 1690 is really that choppiness level, okay, where we could see it retrace to. But altogether, this was a nice little trade over the last week with really just a breakout. Now looking at gold, really flirting with this upper limit and teasing us, okay, looking like it's going to take over, trading above that 14-day moving average. And so there's still room for this to be on the upside. Okay, so this could still develop something on the upside later today. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones, okay, this was the one that really took it higher from 26,500, going from 25,991 up to 26,576 into the 600-ish level area. Now, I'd like to see some continuation here, okay, because this has been really very, very choppy. A lot of news coming out, a lot of kind of contradicting news, really. In one side, you know, the pandemic is still happening. On another side, it looks like we're going to have a vaccine for it. But on the other side, you know, the markets are still reeling that we're in a pandemic. So this really tug of war is not going to be given up. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, okay, and this is really what's carrying us and making our life a little bit more complicated, is that the NASDAQ is very strong, okay? This would be our third attempt at this 11,000-ish level to remain above it. Now, this is really a very important level. And the reason why it's an important level is because once it breaks above it, it could go to 12,000, it could go to 13,000. For the same price, it could go to 14,000, okay? And the reason I say that is that once the gates are opened, okay, in terms of this, it's no longer a rational trade. It becomes then a technical trade. There's no book to value, okay, which means that in essence, there's no real quote unquote value of the market. Okay, it becomes just a hyped up market, something very similar to what we saw in the year 2000. So with that said, we're really testing this upper limit. I'd like to see it broken, okay, for it to really to be a bona fide breakout, okay, but we need the stocks to follow through. And they include Apple. Okay, Apple looking like it's tapering off at 433, even though it had this really nice couple of gap ups, okay, but it's still not, you know, pushing it higher. I would like to see it end on its highs or something to that nature. Okay, so we may just find ourselves trading sideways for a while. Now looking at Facebook, okay, also same story, not breaking out higher but trading sideways. Looking at Microsoft, we're at resistance, okay, of our all-time highs. So this may be the stock that's actually going to push us higher, and this is why it's really, really very important to focus on this and to really pay attention to this, because this could really develop into something magnificent today. Now looking at Alcoa also, okay, why I feel that this is looking to break out just on a technical level. We had this one-time challenge, second-time challenge, okay. We didn't break out lower from this 12-15 supportish level, and it kind of setting itself up on an upwards wedge formation. So it looks like it wants to take this out and really break above it. Okay, if it does, then really the next level is 1656. Okay, so really exciting stuff happening in the market as everything is unfolding. Now I do want to bring into the picture Bitcoin, because I think that that's still in the picture right here and still in the running, that if we do continue breaking above this 11,500-ish level, we could definitely see ourselves back to the 12,000-ish level. Okay, so this is still relatively strong with all the stuff that is going on in the markets. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day.